Logic 0, example 6.1, interpretation with T and F. All right, so in this section, we are replacing our zeros and ones with T's and F's. So we're going to do F and T instead of 0 and 1. And there is a mapping here. F is for false, and from what we've done so far, 0 maps to false. And T is for true, and that maps to 1. So we're now just making one more move in the direction of logic rather than arithmetic of evens and odds. Okay. So we need a new lookup table, or we just need to modify our previous lookup table. So I'm gonna copy this over to my document, and this lookup table of operations of primary importance in this modified form. This is the lookup table we're going to use for the rest of the course. Okay, so when we're looking at operations, this is the table that we're going to use. We'll see that the rows are in a somewhat different order. That's just by convention. When we're using zeros and ones, the ordering conventionally is as we had it before. With T's and F's, we favor T over F, and so it goes T, 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 F. But if you do that correspondence, as I was talking about, the rows shuffled. You know, the rows are shuffled, but the rows are the same with that translation from 0 to F and 1 to T. And you can take a look at that and see those correspondences. But, you know, following the sort of theme of these demonstrations, you know, you don't really need to think too much about all of that. You just look up the answers in the lookup table. This is the lookup table we're using now. This is where you find the answers from here on out. Okay. So example 6.1. I'm going to just take this part here, and we're going to complete this interpretation table. And let's see. Actually, I'm gonna back this off, and I'm gonna walk through how to do this. So I'll do this step by step. But I somewhat assume that the procedure is straightforward. We're going to do the same thing that we did before. Here, we're going to copy over the T in the interpretation for A, but we're going to make it a lowercase t. So this is like our lowercase i's and o's. We're going to use lowercase letters until we get to the dominant operation of this first expression. We can't do the material consequence. We can't do the negation. We're going to do an underscore for the open parenthesis. And then B is F and C is true. All right. And then we're going to do conjunction inside of the parentheses here. We have FT. So we're going to go up to the FT row in our lookup table. Oops. And we're going to go over to conjunction. And it says that it is F. Okay, and we're going to use a lowercase letter there. And now we can do the negation. So this negation is going to negate everything that's to the right of it. And that is dominated by this conjunction, which is the false, the F that we just put in there. And negation is going to flip it. It's going to make the F into a T. So notice that when the right-hand input of negation is false, then the negation is true. Okay, so this is going to be true, so we're going to use a lowercase letter there. And now we can do the material consequence. We're going to have true, true. So we go up to the first row of the lookup table, true, true. We go over to material consequence, and it is true. And since this is the last thing that we come to in the entire first expression here, we're going to make that a capital letter. Okay, so this first expression is true on the interpretation where A, B, and C are true, false, and true, respectively. Okay, underscore for the closing parenthesis, underscore for the comma. C is true. Skip the material consequence. B is false. We go to the true, false row of the lookup table. We go over to material consequence, and we see that that is false. And that is the dominant operation of this second expression. So that gets a capital F, underscore for the comma. A is true. It's the only thing in the last expression, so it's going to be a capital T. And we'll put a semicolon, and then we'll do our closing tag. And finally, we will get rid of the line breaks. And here is our answer string.